who see that
Comedy in
every man
politics
that
has existed for as long as
wants
there have
to,
been people in
able
power,
to work,
from
is
Aristophanes to
allowed to.
Jonathan Swift, who suggested the Irish poor eat their own babies to solve the population and famine problem, or
Like
with the
every
political
American I'm
satire
speaking
we
with, we
often
are
see on
ill
television
about this.
today.
We're
In 1874, Thomas Nast illustrated the Republican Party with an elephant on his cartoon. Hence, that is how the elephant became the symbol of the Republican Party that we know today. One of the most iconic cartoons we had during the 20th century is an image of an octopus representing Standard Oil. Its many tentacles symbolize every aspect of oil production, even the state house and U.S. Capitol. Political humor has evolved over time. Today we have stand-up comedy, late-night shows, and political impersonators, such that Tina Fey's impersonating Vice President candidate Sarah Palin has become an iconic image in our pop culture.
and I can see Russia from my house.
They poke fun at politicians and the government, but at the same time, comedy shows also serve as a news source for people. Recognizing this, high-level politicians have often made an appearance on these comedy shows to make fun of themselves and to create a more approachable image. For instance, President Obama has made several appearances on late-night shows during the election and to address current issues.
So I've called on Congress to prevent this from happening. What we've said is simple. Now is not the time to make school more expensive for our young people.
Oh, yeah. You should listen to the president. Or as I like to call him, the Preezy of the United Steezy.
So the question is, do they actually serve the public and affect their opinion on politics? We interviewed a few people regarding this issue. First, we asked if they watch shows like The Daily Show or Colbert and the likes.
Yeah, I don't have cable, but when I do have a chance to watch The Daily Show or The Colbert Show, I definitely, yeah, tune into the shows. They're very, very informative, very funny. I think they're satires, they're satirical, in that they poke fun of our politicians and people that are in power.
Yeah, I do actually. I watched all three of those probably, and find that they tend to not be very biased, so it tends to kind of give both sides, which is fun, and not necessarily listening to a Fox or CNN and getting each side of the story from one person.
Then we asked how they feel about them.
I think, well, from watching Jon Stewart, I feel he definitely presents the issues more accurately and slightly more seriously. I think Stephen Colbert is like constantly goofy, even though talking about real things. But I think sometimes it's like they're the best source of information because I think that they oftentimes have very, or I should probably say mainly Jon Stewart has very like unbiased views when he talks about incidents and things going on in the political world, even when he's poking fun at stuff. But I think it's not. You shouldn't only be watching those. I think marginally, there's probably a few people who are like, "Hey, this is actually kind of interesting." But for the most part, it's I think it's, as like a lot of news is, just sort of entertainment, and there's more, ratings based than delivering information.
No, I don't think it affects the whole population. I think it's geared towards a group of people who already have a certain political bent or political philosophy. So, and those are the people that will, I think, tune into the shows. And so they just they feed off of each other. But I don't think overall the shows affect the entire population. I think people should get involved in politics. I think big money should get out of politics. I think we we should live up to the ideals of our democracy and participate in politics more, then that would ensure that we live in a more fair and freer society. But as it stands right now, politics is only engaged in by a minority of people, and it's heavily influenced by corporate money.
I'd say I probably feel a little bit like there's two sides always, so it kind of depends on maybe who you're listening to and what their intentions are.
Okay.
Knowing a little bit more to the story, I think, is important,
Okay.
rather than just listening to what the person maybe has to say at that specific time. I think sometimes they can be a little bit negative, but I think politics in itself is sometimes negative. And these guys try to bring a little bit of light to it, but also try to get both sides of the story, which I think is important. And I think it's important for people that don't necessarily look into it too much, and can see kind of an average Joe saying both sides of the story, and kind of gives you a good sense as to, Democratic or Republican, whichever way that you feel.
A survey to study the impact of political humor has found that 50% aged 32 and younger frequently use political satire shows to follow politics and the election. Furthermore, a study by researchers at Fairleigh Dickinson University found that viewers of a common political satire, The Daily Show, were more informed than Fox News or MSNBC viewers. Our own field research of young adults found that many did not have positive opinions of politics or politicians. It may be true that political satire does not necessarily encourage viewers to hold politics in high esteem, but it does get viewers to think and discuss current events. This simple fact should not be overlooked, because political thought and discussion are key to participation in democracy. The youth may prefer the Colbert Report to Walter Cronkite or 60 Minutes, but it makes them no less informed and no less ready to be involved in the democratic process of the 21st century.